I was gonna do a whole thing, but then I coughed. Hello, hello, hello. It's the Dungeon Minister. And we are live. Now, this camera, it's making noise. I don't know why. Can you hear feedback out of this other camera when I talk? Are you hearing a little whisper? Hello, Rob. Hello, Grumpy. Yes, a temple complex. What will I be building? Well, we'll see. Hello, John Stewart Keller. Tonka Todd. Hi, all back to you. Is that making an echo? You can't hear the repeat. Oh, for crying out loud. I have not managed to, I'm going to take this off the, I have not managed to defeat this. It is deeply annoying. How's that? Oh, look at that. Look at that. I got it now. I think I got it now. That's better. That's better. I can add it back. Yeah, well, I just have that there for now. So, how's everyone doing? Great, that's got it. Good. How's everyone doing out there? I can tell you I have been doing poorly. I was looking at old messages between my wife and I, old texts. I was looking for unrelated to this, but I was looking to see, yeah, that's something else, doesn't matter. But looking back at old texts, I saw that I sent her a message, how are you feeling? And she replied, crummy. And I said, oh, me too, back in mid-February. And you know the thing where you get sick and it's bad, it's really, you feel awful, etc. But then you get better and you kind of forget how bad it was, especially if you then get sick again, which is what happened to us. We've been hit by a couple of waves of things. Sick does suck, Ricky. And we were hit by a couple of waves of things. And so I looked at that message, though, was from February 13th. It's now March, y'all. And a month later, mid-March, I'm just climbing out of it. I had intended to do a lot more live streaming, but wow, I felt so awful for so long. And the last March, I guess it would have been March 2nd, that night, that Sunday night. Oh, did it land on me. And, chills, shaking and the whole 9 yards. It was not a pretty sight. I was not a pretty sight. I mean, I'm never a pretty sight, but it was less pretty even than I normally am. So not a lot of fun. Not a lot of fun. I'd had all sorts of plans for doing more live streaming, but frankly, every night you can see behind me here. You can't because I'm right in the way. I just got myself right in the way. That chair right there. That's where I spent most of my. I probably could. Yeah, that would have been, but no, I can't. I don't know how I can get out of the way of that. Oh, there it is. Everything's backward. I spent most of my time in that chair, just hacking up my lungs. You think we all have it? I think we all have it. You have a periodic cough and yep. You know what? It lasts forever. It hangs on. I am feeling better now, Tonka. Thank you very much. I am feeling better. Not top notch, as you could tell from the hacking, wheezing intro to this, which is a great way to start a live stream. But I am feeling better. Now, before I get into the crafting, I want to mention, I'll be right back. You can see me go. It won't be far. Yeah. While I was so sick, the only thing I could really do is either watch YouTube videos, and I got to watching clips from the movie, not the TV series, the movie, The Gentleman, and very much enjoyed that. But I also could read. That I could manage to do, and thank you very much. I built them myself. Yeah. I was reading this. Ooh, it's a lot of glare there. A lot of glare. Let's less glare. You know what? I'll put it down here. I was reading this this book series, really, The Chronicles of Amber. Raise your hand if you know The Chronicles of Amber. Okay, I'd never heard of it before. Led a sheltered life, I did. It's 2 books in this. These were sent to me very kindly by Lightmane. Lightmane sent those, and you have the very same edition. Is it? It's oh man! I mean, look at this cover. They would not make that cover anymore. That cover would never get made. Anyway, I spent most of my sick time reading those. A gift from Lightmane, so big thank you to Lightmane for those. Unabashedly masculine, like just aggressively masculine. You know, everybody smokes. You know, absent father figure themes, and I mean, all just you know, it was it's quite a ride. It's quite a ride. It gets very, very esoteric near the end. Like the beginning is, it opens with this mystery. Who is he? He doesn't even know himself. And coughing and wheezing is the only way us grognards start anything. Yeah. The foam's coming. The foam's coming, Grumpy. I'm glad you dodged it, John Stewart. I'm glad you dodged it. They would never make Force Fay. No, they wouldn't. Hello, south of England. No sickness there at the moment. Well, there is an entire ocean between us, so you're not going to. You're not gonna catch it from me. I tell you, south of England. Oh, how I long for your shores. If I make a move from the parish I'm in now, it is likely to one in the UK if they'll have me. I would love that. I would love that. Anyway, yeah, it starts with this this strange. He's in this hospital. He doesn't know why. He has amnesia, which also appears to be a theme for Zelazny. As he discovers who he is, I mean, it unfolds into this ridiculous, like, it's not just he's this member of this, like they control the universe. It's like, wow, it gets bigger and bigger. But then at the end, hey, weirdos, hey, wave. Hello, Road March. It gets really, really, really wacky by the end of it. Very esoteric, very strange, neat though, but very like, ooh. This was the book club edition, which had the first, yes, yeah. But I have heard that the ones focusing on his son Merlin are not it's not as good as the first bunch. Anyway, I really did enjoy that. It was a lot of fun, and it saw me through the sick and some of the weirdness when you also have a very high fever. I mean, like, we had some seriously high fevers. Touchberry was packed in ice. You know, that's how high it was. It was dangerous high. And again, chills and things like that. Mine never crept anywhere near that high. Hello, Jay Tyler. Glad you made it too. But yeah, it was not fun. Everyone in the house got sick. Fullfire and I are still nursing it. Bob Johnny still coughs quite a bit. Touchberry, this always happens with Touchberry. He will have a shorter sickness, but it'll be worse. He'll get it over quick, right? But it'll be, twice as bad as anyone else has it, but it only lasts, a shorter time. So in this case, it lasted about a week for him. I'm keeping it because I seem to like it. I want to hang on to my cough. Anyway. All right. So foam around and find out. Obviously playing off of a more colorful saying. What do I mean? I have this box of scraps, and I have lots of other scraps on hand. And I had this idea again months ago, and I planned to have done lots more of these live streams. But I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this box and only go outside of the box. If I only think outside of the box if I have to. try to actually think inside the box and see what I could make just out of scraps, just out of what I've got. Doing no more than just see what I can do with really not terribly large scrap material. Most of this is scrap from my projects. There's a little bit here that was used as packing material from when Dirty Basement Terrain sent me some stuff. Scrap yards, yes, they do. That's what I'll do. I'll make a little yard here. Short and intense makes perfect sense, really. That is about right. So I'm looking at it. I'm going to pull out some of the bigger pieces, because they're going to be sort of foundational, I would imagine, for whatever I did, unless I do a whole bunch of little things. I mean, I've got enough, like I could do sort of pillars of some kind, right? I could do pillars. Yeah, anyway. I just wanted to try. It's mostly just farting around, but I wanted to see what could I do to use up scraps, but also to maybe come up with some item that'll show up in an adventure, or at very least get given away somewhere. So yeah. That's what. Sorry for knocking the camera there. That's what I'm working with. I do not have the D&D Arts and Arcana book. I do not. Well, let's see. There, modern art, done. It's modern public sculpture, circa 1983, 84, maybe. The kind of things that they would. Oh no, 70s. So let's see. Okay, that's going to be a staircase. I don't know where it's going yet. I think it's going to be, we're going to have ruins. It's going to be like just a real small section of a ruined tower. How is a ruined tower different from a ruined child? A ruined tower is picturesque, certainly. That is a ridiculous riff on a line from a play called Arcadia that I was involved in when I was an actor, a stage actor. And it's a beautiful place. Tom Stoppard. It takes place in an English country villa, and it takes place in one room, both in the 1800s and in the modern era. And in the modern era, everything that is just a regular prop for the 1800s is now an artifact. And they're following a mystery. Isn't that good, Grumpy? Isn't that a fabulous play? And they're following a mystery about what happened at the house during a particular period of time when Lord Byron was visiting. And there's a scholar who insists that Lord Byron was key to everything that was happening. He's wrong, but Byron is there and involved, certainly. But it's a really really neat play. Septimus Hodge. And it begins, I know priest and everything, right? But it begins, Septimus, what is carnal embrace? That's the first line of the play. Septimus is a tutor to a very brilliant young girl, Thomasina. And she is sort of accidentally discovering fractal theory. She's just doodling in her book, and she sort of accidentally stumbles on fractal. She doesn't stumble on it. She finds it totally natural. To her, it's just second nature. And she's writing out fractal theory in her book. And of course, this book becomes one of the artifacts that the modern day people, the scholars, discover. And they think it's Hodges. They think it's Septimus Hodges, the tutor. It's not, though. It's the student. It's the young girl. She's like 14, maybe 13. The ones that Culver that led to the city. Ooh, Andy, that is a good idea. Modern public sculpture, 6 HD constructs lawful in nature. thus violently at times to be chaotic. Its law being whatever the fashionable intellectual is at the time. Oh, yes, there you go. There you go. You have quite a few arch pieces, bridge or archway. You're right. I do. Like, you're talking about this kind of thing? Because I could do, ba-da-bomb. That looks like a nose piece from a helmet. I absolutely could. Absolutely could. There will not be one thing done here tonight. I think there will be multiple, or it might end up being, a larger ruin than I had initially intended. It's fun though. Yeah. Great piece of. This is turning out to be a much shorter steps than I thought it was going to be. I probably should have made them steeper or something, but I'm perfectly happy with that. Brilliant play though. Arcadia. If it's ever being presented in your area and you're a theater going kind of person, do go see it if you haven't already. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Arcadia by Tom Stoppard. Yeah, that was when I was first starting out, and I got an internship at the Milwaukee Repertory Theater, and I understudied Mr. Noakes, the landscape gardener. He's the one who has the line. He wants to build a ruin on the estate. This is again, they were building follies on these grand estates. They build follies, things just to look at. And he wanted to put up a ruin where there had never been a building, right? He just wanted to build a ruin. And there was something about Thomasina learning too many things about Saxe or something, and that was going to ruin her. And she, in innocence, asks the question, how is, maybe innocence, maybe she's being puckish, how is a ruined castle different than a ruined child? And Noakes is flustered and just answers, a ruined castle is picturesque, certainly. That's how the actor I was understudying said it. What was his name? His name was Andrew. I can't remember his last name now. Andrew. Good old Andrew. Let's see. Did I ever see Mel Gibson in Macbeth, the movie around 1990? I saw the Mel Gibson Hamlet, if you're talking about that. I did not see a Mel Gibson Macbeth. There were a couple of Hamlets because what's his name? Oh, played Gilderoy Lockhart. He did one too. I mean, that right there. Got to get some. You know what? It is going to be as simple as that. It is going to be the steps, but I'm going to need some ground. I might have to go over here for a slightly larger piece to establish the ground. Yeah. Hey, PML is in the house. How you doing there, Bill? T? Another cape? All right, another cape down. To beautify the countryside. Indeed, they were. And they were follies. I mean, really. But the whole thing was they were going to they built a hermitage. Like build a hermitage and then hire a hermit to live in it, right? That was that kind of crazy stuff. And in the play, I won't spoil the play because it really is quite beautiful. The whole thing is this one room, and the scenes flow. Increasingly, they intersect with each other. At first, it's you get the 1800s and you get the modern, then you get the 1800s. But as it goes on, it becomes more and more chaotic, and things flow together. And at some point, people are speaking to each other in both periods on the stage at the same time, and their lines intersect and wind together, and it's just ethereally beautiful. I know I'm going on about this play. I should be going on about foam, but I don't have anything to wipe my nose with. Let's see. Oh. Neat mention of follies. Learned what follies in the context of garden architecture just today. Oh, well, there you are. Thanks for the series Slow Horses. Slow Horses. Now, what is Slow Horses about there, JSK? If you don't mind me calling you JSK. What is Slow Horses about? It really is. 1 coffee down, 16 to go. Oh, wait, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's more coffee than anyone should be having. That's more coffee than anyone should be having. You want to, don't you? You want to do that. I don't want you to do that. It's all warped already. Okay. We're getting much larger, folks. We're just like... Yes, he did. He did. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead is a fabulous play. I actually saw that done at my seminary. Trinity College in Toronto has a seminary, but it also has just a an undergraduate program. And the undergrads have a little theater group, and they they put on plays. And these were not theater majors; these are people who were studying other things. So, it was okay. But the player king in that gave one of the best performances I have ever seen, amateur or professional. There was such raw honesty in it as he spoke. It was just beautiful. But he didn't do a voice. He didn't, like prosthetics or hunch his back or, he was just being honest. And the other people, I was on a committee to judge to give like best actor awards and stuff. And the other people, because he didn't do those kind of typical things, they said, no, that wasn't acting. He was just being himself. Oh, guys, you don't understand it at all, dude. No, it was brilliant. And I'm like, I'm a professional, former professional actor, and I'm trying to explain to them, acting isn't always doing a silly voice and stuff, right? But they just wouldn't hear it. They gave it to someone else that season, and I will say a lesser performance. I have to tell tales out of school, literally. A lesser performance won. Okay. Now, Gary Oldman. Ooh, MI5 agents who are all in the dark, essentially cases they solve anyway, often in spite of head office. Cool. That sounds really good. Speaking of Oldman and spies, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, a brilliant film. I mean, all hail Alec Guinness in the TV series, but that was a brilliant performance. Yeah, I ran out of Kleenex earlier, didn't I? Oh, for crying out loud. Well, there it is. I'll just have to drip on camera. You'll enjoy that. Mostly silly faces. You know what I need? I got this for Father's Day, birthday. I don't remember. I was actually given a gift card to our friendly local game shop, the Hooded Goblin, and it's lovely. It's lovely for just this sort of thing, because I don't want to go hacking at that with a knife. I will save my hacking for my cough and use this to help speed us along. A lot of coincidences in the chat. You know what? Like, we go all over the place. You need to pull faces too. Drip away. Why, thank you. I will do so whether I have permission or not, unfortunately. Way too much coffee. Way too much coffee. 16 cups. Good heavens. I actually give up coffee for Lent. That's one of my Lenten disciplines. So I have not had it now since Ash Wednesday. I always do give myself the grace that I have coffee the morning of Ash Wednesday. And then that's the last I have until Easter. So Easter Sunday at coffee hour after church. If you're not a churchgoer, maybe you don't know, most churches after church, they have coffee over in the parish hall, right? Or down in the parish, in the basement, that's where their hall is. And it is a Clementine, yes. Coffee hour is sort of the 8th sacrament for Anglicans. And I'll go down and I will have my first cup of coffee on And green slime on my ruins. Yuck. My first cup of coffee in 40 days. Well, 40 plus, because it doesn't count the Sundays. On Easter, and it's always a very good cup of coffee. Doesn't matter if it's lousy earn coffee or not. It's always a very good cup of coffee. That first one of Easter. Well, all caffeine, actually, Grumpy. You're right. Good point. I don't do like Diet Coke or tea or anything like that. No, that was a good clarification question there, because if I just gave up coffee, I could just have lots of tea or something. But no, it's all caffeine. And you know what? After the headache passes, which takes a couple days, you don't really notice it. I mean, Wave, you might. If you're doing 16 cups of coffee in a day, you probably would take more than 2 days to get over the headache. That would probably be more like a week and a half, I would imagine. I have no plan for this, by the way. Just like this whole project, I had no real plan. Hello, BGD. How you doing? Stimulates street. Oh, I'm glad it does. You would die. Well, you know what? I'm betting you'd recover, not from death, but you'd recover from a lack of caffeine. But it is an adjustment, I will say. I am someone who I very much enjoy my morning cup of coffee. I very much enjoy the warmth. I like the taste. I like the effect of the caffeine. So, hence, that's my my Lenten discipline. That and a number of other things, which is why the clementine is there and not a bowl of potato chips or a big old chocolate bar. Okay, that's good. Thank you, battery operated. Speaking of the clementine, I have a couple pieces. These are really sour. Really sour. Yeah. Absolutely, Rob. It's you do adjust and get over it. Now, these are scraps from scraps, and I am not going to do this. I'm not saving them. A while ago, I would have said, "Oh, look, I could make rough pillars. It could be stalactites or stalagmites." But now I'm not doing that. I'm not, and I'm certainly not doing it in that voice. I need to. Part of what this was all about was I have a big. Well, you can't see it on that camera. Anyway, I have a big thing of scrap, big scrap. That's where I got this thing, but I do need to get rid of it. I do need to get rid of it. Okay, let's see. I could build the cave with this. Don't tempt me. Lead me not into temptation, grumpy old Slan. I know, don't. No, I'm not listening. I'm not listening to talk about caves. Okay, if this is going to be the stairs, the top of Kolvar, let's have them because it has to disappear off the cliff kind of thing, right? So what I will do is I will do myself a favor, and I'm going to put it right there. Less of a thing and pretty well straight, so that steps go right to it. Okay. Is good? Is good, yeah. Is good. Okay. My sense of these steps is that, well, they've already got a line cut into them here. This line is etched in. Cave into temptation. Oh. Scale scraps as a handout. Magical scales. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not going to make it like stonework, because this diagonal line's already there and it's kind of, spoiled the whole thing. So not spoiled, but it would run across it in an odd way. Pardon, there's a view of my wrist. There you go. I'm just going to use this to make more lines at odd angles. That will just give it a sort of otherworldly look, I hope. Yeah, it's not going to look like anything in particular. They are not seedless. Every once in a while, you'll get a seed. They're not real seedy, but every once in a while, you get a seed. Hey, see you, Rob. If you're all still there. Let's see. You're going to bring foam core. Excellent. Everybody loves foam core. Now, what is the brand of foam core? If it's the Ready Board made in the U.S., it peels real easy. I know we're supposed to hate imports from the U.S. right now, but I'm sorry, Ready Board, I ain't giving it up. Partly because I already have so much Ready Board. I wouldn't need to buy more for about a million years. Sort of strange. Don't quite know what I'm doing here. But that's nothing new. So 4x8 sheets and mount posters on them. Well, that's what you're supposed to do. Science projects and stuff, right? That's what foam core is supposed to be used for, quote unquote. I showed the woman, there was a here in town where we live, there's a local dollar store. It's not a chain. We do have a chain one as well, which is weird. This is not that big of a town, but I showed the woman there why I was buying so much foam core, and she'd never heard of the thing. And I said, please never change brands, because the Ready Board is the one that peels really easy. And so she didn't. She never changed brands, which is good of her. But now she's sold the business and someone else has taken over. And I had so much Ready Board in, I haven't been there lately, so I don't know if they. The first time I visited after the new people bought it, I did go in and tell them, don't ever change brands, please. But they made like some weird man just came in and told me never to change brands. Yeah, Ready Board, that's the stuff. Really, they've changed. Oh, don't change formulas, guys. You know what happened? Someone complained, this paper peels off too easily. I don't want that. But we do want it. Okay, so we have there we go. And let's see. We're going to use another piece as well here. And I'm running out of room. Okay. I'll take this sort of theme. I like to go around town bullying local shopkeepers into carrying the things I like. Ready Board. Marvin the Martian likes the Ready Board.
The Illudium Q36 hyperspace modulator. It's been stolen. That Earth creature has stolen the hyperspace modulator.
I think I'm naming it wrong. All my life I've thought it was that, and then I discovered recently that I had it wrong.
Explosive, that's what it is. Explosive space modulator. It's been stolen.
Okay, yeah. Yes, there's a bit of a... I don't know if this is showing up with the high contrast. Really maybe a little too bright. Let me try turning it down.
Explosive space modulator.
Oh, that's up. No, that's as far down as it gets. What if I change to a warmer light? Yeah, a little more detail there. So it's got a here we are. I'll just bevel it a little bit. Jay, I got the blue stuff from this blue stuff I got from Lawrence, Dirty Basement Terrain. He shipped some stuff up and he used it as packing material. But the stuff that I made the keep out of, I got at a Home Hardware. Jay Tyler, where are you?
There's the earth-shattering kaboom.
Jay Tyler, are you here in Canada or are you in the U.S.? I thought down in the U.S. that Fat Foam would be available in every corner store.
But in 1955, it's a little hard to come by.
I need a new blade. I thought it would be like, just walk into the local gas and sip and they'd have some. Okay, the dog better not go rooting into this garbage can now. This is a deadly combination of orange peel, which will attract his nose, and razor blades, which will cut it. I'll empty the trash before I'm done. U.S. Arizona. Okay, well, you know what? I'm thinking, Jay, and maybe I'm out of line here. Maybe they don't have a lot of insulation for sale in Arizona. Just saying. Although I guess you have to insulate to keep the cool air in. All right. But yeah, here, I mean, I had to search it out. Like the Home Depot here does not have, the only thick stuff they had was shiplap. So it would have this little dog leg on all the edges, right? That are meant to work together which if you're insulating is good. But if you're crafting is not, because you get to the edge and you actually end up losing a little bit all the way around your piece, because it's this, if you want thick, that's not what you want. It may just be because, but you do have to insulate to keep air conditioning in. So I don't know. I had to look around, but there's a building center here in Canada, at least in Ontario. There's a chain called Home Hardware, and it's sort of like an Ace Hardware. It's that kind of store where they have a little bit of everything. And like a lot of smaller chain places, if you're doing a deck and you want to buy deck screws, you can find 3 boxes. If you need like 6 boxes, no. You're not going to get that many. And so like this store here in town, we have one here in town, a Home Hardware. And yeah, they should tone down the bird feeder section, even though I love bird feeders and I have a bird feeder, just filled it today, but they should tone down the bird feeders and home decorations and just carry some more hardware. But anyway, that place wouldn't have it, and Home Depot here doesn't have it. But the Home Hardware Building Center, one town over, they did. And so that's where I got it. It's not cheap. Yes, Black Magic Craft is Canadian. He's in Manitoba. Might have named it. Different colors of XPS insulation have slightly different densities and crafting properties. Absolutely. I found that the stuff that I made the keep out of was much denser than this blue. This blue is nice and squishy. This blue is nice and squishy. And of course, foam core is nice and squishy. The pink is nice and squishy. Pink. But the stuff that I made the keep out of, really quite rigid. So it was hard to texture. It didn't take texture very well. I really had to mow on it. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That pink Owens Corning in the U.S. is the equivalent of this blue stuff that I've got. I don't know what brand it is, but grayish blue, bluish gray. Okay, and then I think this can't just be plain around it. I'm going to have maybe I do need some rock, some scrap. I'm digging in the trash, people. I'm digging in the trash. That's what I've come to. I'm digging in the trash. Won't you help feed a poor, starving crafter digging in his own garbage? Okay. I just want some. For the price of a cup of coffee a day. A cup of coffee he won't drink because he gave it up for Lent. But for the price of a cup of coffee a day, you could support this starving crafter. I don't know why I turned into a game show host when I said that. Hey, you want to support a starving crafter? Get a little weird at this time of night when I haven't had my coffee. The green Exvius is usually Kingsguard brand. Yeah, it does actually. If this is right, no, there's not enough of it to read a label on, but. It's pretty texturable, if that's a word. Trying to avoid sharp right angles, which don't look natural. You know the thing when you're trying to make something look random, like just scattered. Hello, one dead Viking video. You're trying to make something look random and scattered, and you cannot for the life of you make it look like you just tossed the items on the table. And then if you do toss the items on the table, they look too random, like they scatter too far. Drives me nuts. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Drive myself nuts. That's not much of a drive, dude. More like a short walk. Nah, maybe not. I'm going to try different things. I kind of like the farting around. This is how a lot of my stuff gets made, which is why I don't do videos, because it's really me just farting around. In Eldritch Ruin. Hang on, I'm going to mute the microphone. You mentioned a green slime earlier, Slan. Salty. Yuck. I did get to the point during this last, during the height of this last one, I got to the point I could tell you what color the sputum was before I saw it just by its taste. I learned to differentiate. And I know that the salty, that's no problem. When it tastes like iron, it's a problem. That's a problem. Yeah. I'm just trying to get a little arrangement of rocks here. Again, to look natural. Artificially look natural. But it doesn't have to look too... I mean, it can be a kind of wild space. It doesn't have to be totally like realistic earth looking, because it's not. It's a fantasy. Yeah, it is gross. Let me tell you that right now, Road. It's gross. People will see a pattern in them. Yeah, you know what? People, that's what we do. That's what we do. What am I building tonight? I am building a scene from the end, not the end, kind of near the end of Chronicles of Amber. The staircase which goes to I've forgotten the name of the place. The Moon City. It's a city in the sky which mirrors the city on the ground, but it only exists when the moon is out. And if the cloud goes in front of the moon, the city becomes very diaphanous and starts to waver and fade. And actually, at one point, vanishes because the clouds obscure the moon. But there's a set of stone staircases, a set of stone stairs. I think it's only 3 in the book, but I did more. Anyway, a set of stone stairs, solid, real, there all the time. But when the city appears, the stairs take off from the top of that. So it's actually a book that Lightmane sent me, and I read while I was very ill. So actually, maybe there is no staircase. Maybe there is no magical staircase. It's just a fever dream. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. Just one more little rock, I think. There we are. I gotta take that sharp edge off. That's looking really boxy. I have to change that. Maybe over here. So it is pretty cool. That's a cool book. All right. I can get a gluing. Now I have, oh no, first I'm going to texture. There it is. Last Clementine slice. Clementine. So, what is everyone playing these days? We had a session Saturday? Friday? Saturday. It was March break, so Fleetwood was home, and we were able to do more stuff than normal. I guess it must have been Saturday. No, Thursday. Good heavens, a while ago. Time flies when you're recovering from illness. Yeah, we played Thursday, and the family game, and so that was fun. I won't say too much about what happened because there will be an episode, but it involved a mission for the elves. Is it Clementine the name and Clementine the fruit? Is that what it is? I don't know. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling Clementine. You're delicious, so I ate you. But you're a piece of fruit, so it's not that bad. Yeah. Yeah, Tirna Naguth. Yeah, oh, good heavens. Corin visits the sign of the unicorn. That's right. Sign of the unicorn. They come down. Well, I won't say any more about that. They come down and oh, well, you know what happens if you've read it. If you've read it, like I'm one of the cool kids. I'm part of the club, having read it like, a week ago, finished it. Not even a week ago. Lots and lots of index card RPG for the Runehammer games. I have not. Cool. Now, index card RPG. I assume that's more than just an RPG using index cards, but I assume that it does use index cards. More than that, but including that is what I assume. I did when I play with Mage's Musings, all of my characters have been on index cards. Because the first time I played with him, it was in conjunction with a family trip to the zoo. So we went into Toronto and went to the zoo, and then family dropped me off at a Swiss Chalet, which is a restaurant here in Canada. It's Saint-Hubert in Quebec. But just a chicken place, really. It's just a chicken restaurant, basically. I mean, they have other stuff, but it's largely chicken. Yeah, more sit down. It's not Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's more of a sit down place. But at any rate, they I was there and I waited a little bit until it was time for the game. And while my co-fire drove home, and then I went to the game. This is within walking distance of Mage's apartment at the time. He's moved since, but and yeah, and I wanted to have everything be very portable. I didn't want to have a lot of stuff because I had to take it back. Because I don't have like I guess a folder wouldn't be that big. But I was being clever. I put it all on index cards so I could just have it in my pocket. I kind of liked the moment when I showed up. Like, do you have your characters on? Shing. Yes, I do. Let's see. Yes, the Mage did release another review cap, he calls them. Yes. Absolutely come to Claricon and run that, dude. Absolutely. Okay. I'm covering all of this, and of course, much of it's going to be covered up by this piece, but oh well. I'll know it's under there. Is that even the piece I cut? Is that even the rock? I can't tell if this is a rock or just a scrap. I guess that's a good sign. Let's see, adventures continue past in a dark Greyhawk setting where Vecna won. 4 different adventures going on there, including a weekend-long session I just ran for dear friend's 50th birthday, and my son is planning a West End Games Star Wars session. That's cool. D20 rollover system that uses the standard 6 attributes. It features effort categories to give non-combat tasks a similar structure to combat encounters. Cool. Running a little 5e for an hour a week at work with 3 players, and have been playing Call of Cthulhu, mainly horror on the Orient Express, being run by Ye Old Geek. Hey, Ye Old Geek. Say hello from me. Is that being run in person or online? That was fun playing with Geek when he was at Claricon. That was fun. I wonder if he's going to be able to come again this year. That's a bit of a trip. I mean, coming across the Atlantic to come to Claricon, that was quite the commitment. Hey-o, Squirrel Hermit, how are you doing? People just talking about what they're playing lately. I'd love it if he came back, but would he absolutely understand that, crossing the Atlantic once for a teeny tiny little convention in a nowhere town in Ontario is, maybe that's enough for now. So let's encourage abstraction of spaces and nodes and zones. Oh. Okay, hey, you have a good rest, squirrel. Get up in the squirrel nest, curl up, put that tail around you, have some sleep. Okay, that's right. He is northern. I forgot that. Of course, in North America, we always just assume that because the UK is so tiny, you can visit anywhere, anytime. Primarily because the distances involved are distances that we would drive without second thought. Oh, my friend's 2 hours away, 3 hours away. Sure, I'll drive that for a game. It wouldn't even faze us. We spend so much time in our cars. Okay, now. Yeah, well, and you also have to think about tariffs there now, Paint Minis Live. Shadow Dark, ooh, fun. OSE. Sounds good. You would have to think about if you were selling merchandise, you'd have to think about tariffs. Not to mention the competition that you present to local mini painters. Apparently, that was so ridiculous. Taking all your stuff at the border, or making you ship it back home at the border. Insane and inane, I say. So I was thinking of hot glue, but then on something this thin, on these small of pieces, all that's going to do is good to melt everything. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. You can hear the train going by. Maybe you can't. Can you hear the train in the background? That must be a freight train because he's being very, very light on the horn. The Via train, which is like Amtrak in the States, the Via train comes through, and that guy lays on the horn to the point that I'm pretty sure his ex-wife lives in town. I'm pretty sure his ex-wife lives somewhere in town because he lays on that horn like his life depends on it. And there's gates and signals and everything. It's not like it's an unmarked crossing. He's got lots of. You can't miss that a train's coming. But he lays on that horn so hard. I'm sure his ex-wife lives in town or something. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. It is exclusive. I will say that, Rod. It is exclusive. We can only fit so many people. Although it has expanded this year. It is expanding. We're going to have a second space, a second major space. We had a second space last year, but it's going to be never gain associated a week. Crit. Cool. I'm going to do this again. Delicious, smooth and creamy. Okay. Oh, my stairs. Might as well do the stairs. I could do this in hot glue because it's a thicker bit of foam, and it's not gonna, even if it melts the underpiece, it's underneath. But I'm doing everything else in PVA. Might as well do this too. So this will need to dry, so I won't be painting it tonight, but there. I feel like there's one more thing missing. Let's see. That's about it, Wave. That's about it. Yeah, several ex-wives. Yeah. There's some living up your way too. Yeah, but it's so obnoxious. It's like, dude, we all get it. I feel like there should be something tall over here. Let's see. I mean, I do have bits. I could do a sort of strange spiky thing. That may be too big, too spiky. Back to the garbage, everyone. Why were you up so late, honey? Well, I was watching a priest dig through the trash for scraps of foam. Why? Metric ton? Road March has a ton of ex-girlfriends, and they both think he's a nasty guy. He has a ton of ex-girlfriends, and they're both tired of the jokes about their weight. This isn't any good. I'm not gonna be able to take out that corner, but there we are. Okay. Yeah. Yep. So I started I'm involved now in an online game. There's only certain nights when I can play, and I can't eat all of those nights up because at some point, you know, my wife looks at me like, "Really? You're online again?" Um, but I was in a game. We're starting a campaign. I can talk. We're starting a campaign of Iron Sworn, which is not Ironborn, which is the George R.R. Martin thing, but Iron Sworn. So it's like if Theon Greyjoy stubs his toe and he curses. But no, it's a strange game. Like the players help invent the world, kind of thing, and it's kind of neat. I don't know where it will go. Let's see. Okay, I'll cut a few more little notches into it to make that one look like I meant it. Make that one look like I meant it. Come down. Nice. Cool. So yeah, it's an online thing. It is a beautiful book. I have to say, I am discovering what an old dog I am, and how little a little room I have in my brain for new tricks. So I don't want to tell the I don't want to tell the GM this, but essentially I'm going to be like, you just tell me what to roll, what dice to roll. I'll do the role playing kind of stuff, and when it comes to combat, just tell me what dice I'm supposed to roll, and then I'll, because I have no idea. And not, I mean, the game, like I'm so old, I'm so old. I just don't like. I don't have any room to learn a new system in my head. Look at me cutting toward myself with a razor blade. What did you do last night, honey? Well, I watched a priest bleed out online. How did he do that? Well, he decided to cut toward himself with a razor blade through stiff foam that just gave way. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. It's sort of making it look weird, right? That's the idea. Make it look weird. People swear by Ironsworn. I swear by Ironsworn. No pun intended, but achieved nonetheless. Achievement unlocked. Punning. There we go. So, okay. That's going to go here. It's not in the book, but I don't care. And you know what I'm going to do, though, before I do this? Is I don't want to... don't stay in there, you. I don't want it to be weak, so... Excuse me. It's like Fibber McGee's closet, this banging from off camera. I don't know, all I want are the toothpicks. Toothpicks are behind everything else. All right. I am just going to do a little bit of reinforcement because I don't want it to be weak. Pumpkin time. All right, Grumpy, you have a very good night. And if you hear the train go by, it means your ex-girlfriend has a new job. You have a very good sleep. See you about, my friend. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, PDG. Like, I know people complain about just one more D20, D20 BX clone, etc. And why can't anyone do anything original? But it's like I can't. I like a different setting, I like a different, tone. New DMs that have new ideas are always great, but getting another system in my head is not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. There we go. Why are you doing this to me? I have poked the hole. Should go through. There we are. No, it doesn't want to. The heck? Yeah. I did that to make it stronger. It will probably end up making it weaker because I jimmied around with it so much. Oh, well. Oh, well. Yeah, I'm going to paint that up like a crystal of some kind. That's why I didn't texture it. I want it smooth. What is a slan anyway? Well, I understand it's a literary reference, and I can't remember what it was. Is it Alice in Wonderland or something? Oh, that's Snarks. But in my experience, a lovely gentleman from Quebec who's not grumpy at all. He really isn't. I know I'm ruining his image there. That he's well-cultivated image as a grump, but he's really not grumpy. He's just a lovely man. So there we go. A small piece to slap down on the table. I won't slap it because it'll probably break. I feel like it's a little, I don't know. Well, with paint it will be better. Stairs, a dark stone. This slab, I'm thinking of making it something pale, like a lighter stone, and then this, a flock around here, rocks coming out of the grass, being surrounded by grass. That might work. A few little, those little shrub things. Yeah, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Wave. I swear is essentially a variant of the Powered by the Apocalypse Forged in the Dark system with playbooks and moves, which is a very different way to play. And although I am, deeply immersed in role-playing games, that makes no sense to me. In fact, that may be Andy, that may be where the reference comes from. I think that actually is where the reference comes from. Vought sounds about right. At least you're talking about bringing another 10 of ex-girlfriends to Claricon. I did rent another space, but I don't know if we can get a whole ton of ex-girlfriends. Again, depending on how many that means. I don't know. Ooh. Okay. What time are we looking at? Well, we're looking at 11:38. Now, as it happened, in my foam use, I really only took a little bit from the box full of stuff. This I got from another box, but I did craft using stuff. I will do one more small piece. I missed that question. Yes, Jay. Don't worry about being rude. I'm almost impossible to offend. Yes, Anglican priests can marry. Anglican Church of England. Still priests, still called priests. It's right there in the prayer book, but and we have bishops and deacons. We're much like the Roman Church. In fact, I know a church that ordains its lectors, the people who do the readings from the Bible on Sunday, and they ordain the they ordain the crucifer, carries the candle, and carries the cross rather, and the acolytes who carry the torches. They ordain everybody, but no, we have the threefold ministries. The sacraments are celebrated every Sunday. But there's some differences, and one of them is that we can get married. Yeah, Wave, right. Yeah, right. The other big one that still names their clergy priests, because like Lutherans get married, but they say pastor and things like that. But wasn't disrespectful at all, Jay. No worries. The other big one that allows us priests to marry is the Eastern Orthodox, and their bishops need to be single, but their priests can marry. So you can always tell an ambitious priest because he doesn't get married, because he's trying to hold out for bishop. Okay. Yeah. Yep. That's it. Where did I put my knife? My kniff. Oh, I may need to get another blade here. I'm just gonna try to get this something like flat. Closer to flat. Oh, come on.
Come on, you stupid thing.
Life without a Proxon. The struggle is real. You know the reason I don't buy a Proxon? I think you're right. Yes, they have to be married before they're ordained. Yes. And if they want to be a bishop, they can't. The reason I don't have a Proxon is, yes, the price is a little bit of it. I will admit that they are not cheap, but it's primarily space. It's primarily just room. We don't have room in our house, which is part of the reason I'm using up all of this scrap. I'm trying to clear space. Plus, so far, the dog hasn't shown any interest in it, and I don't want him to. We just got a dog recently, so we weren't dog people before. And now we are the dog people. Kobolds. Let's see. So you have to be confirmed. So in order to be ordained, generally speaking, yes, one is confirmed. Laity do not. There's no requirement for it, but most do at some point. Fleetwood was confirmed just a little while ago now, about a year, I'd say. It was a grand day. It was a grand day at the cathedral. But yeah, it's not mandated. There's fewer things in the Anglican Church. There's fewer things that are like requirements of the faith. There's fewer markers to entry, bars to entry, etc. There's fewer of them. The ones that are there are, of course, taken seriously because there's fewer of them. But yeah, that'd be funny if I did all that and then I wanted to turn it on its side. Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't we laugh? Wouldn't we all have a laugh if I wanted to do this after having cut it to stand like that? Wouldn't we laugh? Wouldn't we? Can you do this? Section of wall. Just a section of wall. Just a section of wall. I bring my oversized ruler here. And we're going to decide what size bricks these folks used. Because I'm lazy and I don't want to make too many lines, they're going to have some pretty honking big bricks, considering how big minis are, the scale we're working on. The Roxxon cutting, especially big production line batches, out in the garage wearing a respirator. The fumes are just too nasty for me to try cutting in the house. Yeah. I do it when I borrowed a friend who I game with loaned me his, and I did it in the kitchen with the range hood on and all the windows open, and it was still pretty. I mean, I didn't do. I guess I did a fair amount. But it was it was nasty. I agree with you there. Is that lining up at all? I seem to have made a boo-boo. I think that's about right. Doesn't make much sense though. Well, you know what? Making sense is for losers. I am such a loser. Yeah. I won't say I had, hallucinations or anything. I'm going to ignore that second mark because that's just not saying I had hallucinations or anything, but it was it wasn't great. There we go, loop-de-loo. Now, I'm not doing the top one. The top one's gonna be like, I don't know, for some reason it's bigger. I don't care. I'm not gonna worry about it too much. Not gonna worry about it too much. Not gonna worry too much. I like the scatter terrain because you get, you can get a lot of use out of it. The only downside is it ends up kind of going into a bin of stuff, and then you end up forgetting you even have it, and you do something, and like, oh, I could have used that piece. Ah, nuts. I totally forgot I had it. I have to say, there's probably greater satisfaction in doing a big set piece, but the scatter terrain is probably more useful, frankly. Probably more useful. And we're close to the same. I should have just done this. Really. Should have just done that. But here I am, not having done it. Yeah. It probably would have been a better idea. Maybe I had a candy wumpus. Oh well. That's why it's a ruin. It was built badly. It was poorly designed and built, so it fell over. Everyone enjoying looking at my bald spot? All right. Hello, Jane Morrow. Good morrow, Jane Morrow. You hate that, don't you? My last name's O'Rear, so I hear you. How are things with you? Missed the discussions of stage plays and fantasy novels. Now we're just talking about my hairline. Well, I am. Thank you. my terrain modular, and I like to build all my structures of playable interiors. Yes, you can't put the stuff inside. That is a good point. Always a good point. Store your scatter terrain inside your modular stuff. Store your terrain inside your modular stuff. Yeah. We did, as I said, we played on Thursday, and I used a whole bunch of old stuff, just kind of gathered together for the terrain, and it worked out pretty well. You'll see if I release, when I release the video. It worked out pretty well. But at one point, I used, the dollar store trees. You go to at Christmas, you go to the dollar store and you get these little trees and have snow on them and everything. Reaching over those, they would catch on my sleeve. I was wearing a football jersey, and they'd catch on that. And so I'd reach in to move a mini and come away with a tree hanging off. That was kind of annoying. Had to get rid of those eventually. Just pulled them off. Pulled them off the board. It was not going well. Yes, I'm just eyeballing this. I'm not doing a nice measured line. I can't be bothered at this point. So they're a little rough. Make them more like real stone. No, it makes it more like foam that you didn't measure a line for. You just drew it by hand. Now, this inside. Yes, the Claricam. The Claricam for Claricon. Let's see. I wonder if I can aggressively texture it. Is aggressive texture going to do it? I mean, it's not going to really look like rubble. But maybe. Yeah, I do too. Every Christmas, I get more of them. Christmas and Easter, not Easter. Easter, no, not really. Christmas and Halloween, though. Dollar store is the place to be. Speaking of Blackmagic Craft, which someone was much earlier, they do really good. He did a really good rubble-filled wall at one point. I think I'm mucking mine up. Oh well, I guess I'm not too worried. I could do a stair-step thing, like blocks. Maybe I will. Broken. I don't know if I'm making it better or worse. And that is something I say regularly. I don't know if I'm making it better or worse. It was actually in my wedding vows. I don't know if I'm making it better or worse. Did a wedding the other day. Lovely couple. And they're the groom is from the family that runs one of the local retirement homes. So I know them, that way. And a lovely couple, very small wedding, very intimate. and they went and they had the reception at the retirement home with the residents, which I thought was a really nice touch. Like this family is, they're like seriously, legitimately, really close with the people who live there. Actually, Jane, you know what? Yes, I have, like half an hour ago. And I think when I did this piece, I used it around the edge, and I think I'm going to employ it again. I was actually just thinking this would be easier with a hot wire cutter as you typed that. Just need to get a little, I just have this little doodad, right? Yeah. Yeah, I kind of mucked that up, so yeah. I don't know, a combination of telepathy works. A combination of hot wire cutting and just tearing. Tearing sometimes works too, because you get a oh, I'd have to press the button. You get a nice jagged look, right? So there, I need to get a little more. It's okay. Well, thank you, Jay. I'm enjoying myself. I mean, I here's the straight dope. If I was not online, I would still be talking just to myself. I would still be doing the funny voices. I would, because I'm an only child. I grew up alone, and that's what I always am. So this is really sort of bonus, as far as I'm concerned, to have some folks to chat to for a change. Ah, yes, it's a nice little unit. Pardon me. The handheld one, the wire cutter. It is a nice little thing. It I wish they had one that was. I mean, the width of this, the that does affect what you can do. You can't. I couldn't do the castle, the keep, because it can't reach around. The pieces were too wide. But Wave, the first rule of Craft Club is don't talk about Craft Club. Yeah, so I went and I did all this on it. It doesn't matter. It's going to be up against this. Stupid. Okay. This way. Okay. Even it out here. If you're wondering what I'm doing while I'm doing classical music riffs, I'm trying to even things out. Don't know how well it'll work. Hello, negative headspace. How are you doing today? I hope your headspace is not too negative. Look at me learning. I can learn. I can learn. I can be taught. I don't need that big ruler here. I can use a piece of cardboard. There we are. Just And it even has a right angle built in. I think it's a right angle. Let's see. Kind of a right angle. Close enough. Good enough for government work. So here's an embarrassing story. Speaking of telling stories out of school. Lent began on March 5th, of Ash Wednesday. The first Sunday in Lent was the 9th. I mentioned I've been sick. And the 9th was also the time change. Spring forward. Lost an hour of sleep one moment. So between having been sick and the time change, I was a little tired that day. And we have two liturgies on a Sunday morning. We have the 8:30 and the 10:30. Fine. A said mass and a sung mass. Fine. Said mass went just fine. No problems. No worries. Everything was cool. Came time for the sung mass. And Lent, in liturgical churches, there's always a color for the season. Okay. You have gold or silver, white or a yellowish for something just fell over. I don't know what it was. It doesn't sound like it was a person though. Those are for like feast days, Christmas, Easter. Advent in the Anglican Church, a lot of times we use Sarum blue from Salisbury, a blue, a really kind of beautiful blue color. Ordinary time is green, and Lent is violet, purple. I was tired. Again, 8:30, fine. Came time for the 10:30. I wore the green chasuble. And so I'm standing there in front of a altar that's decked in purple by preaching from the pulpit that is vested in purple, and wearing green, not bright green, but a green, definite green. There's no mistaking the green. And there was a couple guys who were there who were former Roman Catholic seminarians. They had been in seminary, but for various sundry reasons are no longer in the Roman church. And so they were there, and they knew full well what, the mistake I'd made. Did either of them polite, just grab me before I went up the aisle and said, "Father, you're in the wrong"? No, neither of them. Just left me hanging to dry. Oh well. I was so bleary that day. And the funny thing is, like I think back, and the sermon was like really good that day, but I was so out of it. So I think maybe it's sleep deprivation that does it. What are we building? You know what? This is a foam around and find out. So it is. I've just grabbed foam scraps, and I'm just doing whatever with them. Earlier, the first build was this staircase at the top of Colver, the mountain in the Chronicles of Amber, and the staircase that goes to the Moon City. Just because someone suggested it, and I thought it sounded like a good idea. This is going to be a couple pieces of ruined wall. And I will once again quote or paraphrase Arcadia. "How was a ruined wall different from a ruined child, Septimus?" No, it's not Septimus. "How is a ruined wall different from a ruined child?" "A ruined wall is picturesque, certainly." So, there you have it. And if you missed it, if you have a chance, see Arcadia. It is a beautiful play. A beautiful play. People have asked, why hasn't it turned into a movie? It's like, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work as a movie. It has to be that it's seeing it happen in front of you is what's so wonderful, right? Like knowing that it is actually happening. It's live. That's what's so beautiful about that play. So Thank you, Jane. They were left over from something I cut. I don't know what I cut out, but I save everything. So I have all of the stuff I ever had. I still have. Okay, I'm going to employ, pardon my nose wiping, but again, I don't know where the Kleenex are. I'm going to employ the wire cutter that is hot to do this. Take some chunks out. I got some broken up bits. To make that even. Having done such a keen job of matching up the lines, I'm now messing it all up, aren't I? Me? Mess my own thing up? Never. Always. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to be so fussy. There. Hence the talking vegetables after hour 24. Hey, let me tell you right now. Those Veggie Tales, they got it going on, man. Don't mess with the tomato. Don't mess with the tomato. When we moved into this house, the neighbors had 2 4-year-old twins, and the little boy was obsessed with the Cars movies, and he was always making tow mater jokes, but he wouldn't say the whole thing. He just said mater. Mater was the, and I'm like, why did they name the truck mother in German? What doesn't make any sense at all? When I tow mater. Oh, okay. Then I got it. Yeah, it didn't make any sense to me though. I was like, what? Why is this? What's the big deal about this? And the kid was always he was so gleeful about the name, right? Like, why is he so not cheese? Why is he so chuffed about this name? So Mater, great, okay, Mater. What does it matter? And of course, he's 4, so he couldn't explain the joke. He couldn't really, he wasn't like he didn't get that I didn't get it. He just thought I didn't find it funny or something. I don't know. But and now that kid, big beard, yeah, I gotta have the Claricam. The cheeseburger song. Did I sing the cheeseburger song, or is that somebody else? Because if I sang it, I honestly don't remember. The Tomater, right? Hello, Agile Monk. Welcome and enjoy the visions of Claricam. Enjoy the visions of Claricam. For the newcomers, the program tonight is I had some leftover. I had some leftover foam, and I'm just doing something with it. That's the full story on this stuff. This is not. It's nothing more advanced than that. I'm not. There's no grand plan. I have no plan. I never do. But yeah, we're just making terrain, and I'm doing silly voices, and people were saying earlier what kind of games they're playing. What game are you playing? Sounds like some neat stuff going on out there. Some OSE, some 5e, some index card, all sorts of stuff. All sorts of stuff. All sorts of stuff. I didn't want that big jump there. I didn't want that big jump, so I'm going to make it a hole. I did that on purpose. I am getting demonetized because I'm singing pop songs. I am sitting at my table and I'm crafting up a wall. And Yang has come online and he has said good evening. Do, 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 do. And Jane Morrow just learned what the tomato joke meant, and I have to say I didn't know either. So don't feel bad about that. Do, 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 do. Oh well. There are days when I go to work and it's because I have to get up early for Sunday mornings, right? And I don't get up early a lot of the rest of the time. And so I'll be driving into work and I'll be so tired and I will be singing that just, I am driving to the church and oh, there is a stoplight up ahead and I should get some more gas because I don't know if I will make it all the way there. And it's like a 15-minute drive. So gotta let the Rottweiler out. Our coonhound Rottweiler is in his crate and I am anticipating his whinging any moment. It's a coonhound, right? So he's a whiner, a crier, and the people we got him from said he's a bit of a whiner, and like, man, they weren't kidding. No, Young, there's no there was a rectory with the parish, but a predecessor of mine had it converted to office spaces and whatnot because he had a very nice house in another town where he lived and he didn't want to sell his house. I have to say, rectories turned out not to be a great idea in the modern church because priests would retire and not have any equity, right? You've lived in rectories all your life. You've never bought a house, and so you don't have any equity. And people would advise, well, save some money, put some money aside so you have a down. That's never going to keep up with housing prices, right? The interest is never going to keep up with housing prices. So you're always going to be behind the ball, on the stick, the short end of the ball, short end of the. Anyway. Yeah. So yeah, it was turned into office space. I would love to live in that old rectory, though. I mean, our church is in a gorgeous setting. Pardon me. Beautiful grounds alongside a river. So yeah, the tomato joke. We're staying in 2014 at 5E. Would like to teach my group Shadow Dark. Cool. OSC Young. Just looking up to see if I missed anything of. Yeah, it was up above. You gotta stay with us here, Wave. The jokes go quick here. They go quick. All right. I can glue that together and live with it. You know what? I can. I will do a little picking to make this surface less regular. I'm picking like a meth addict. I don't get that. That is one of the most disturbing things. I mean, obviously, there's lots of disturbing things about addictions, but the sort of hardcore users and the face picking, man, that's disturbing. It is this highly visible mark of the addiction. It's tragic. There was a woman in the parish, not a parishioner, but she lived in the physical parish in the boundaries of care for the so although she didn't attend, she was within my purview of people to attend to if possible. Unfortunately, did not turn out to be possible. By the time her issues were brought to my attention, her boyfriend got a hold of me and he was afraid for her health. They were both addicts, and by the time I intervened to try to get her medical attention, she was too far gone. She wouldn't accept it. And I went over Well, she did accept it in a way. I went over there and talked to her a few times. And the final time, she said, "Yeah, that's it. Okay, I'll go with you know." Because I said, "Come on, I will pick you up. I will take you to rehab." She finally agreed to it. And as we were winding our conversation down, a friend comes over, and the friend is all like, "Yeah, she's got a real problem. We got to get her help." Great. So I left, and I left my hat there. I forgot it. Went back to get my hat. What were they doing? It's just like, and I mean, it was a matter of days from there, and she was gone. It was gone. She never did end up going to rehab. She would, no, she decided she wasn't going to. There was always some reason, but that friend, that's not a friend. That's not a friend at all. It really is one of the most frustrating things. Watch someone destroy themselves like that. Not fun. Not fun. Chops broccoli, chopping broccoli, chopping broccoli. It is a beautiful place at dusk. Directory was listed under houses for sale, and then there were, you get this church too. It is awful, it really is. There's a number of churches in the area that have been, they've been converted into houses, largely because in Canada there were three denominations: the Congregationalists, the Methodists, and some of the Presbyterians combined into one denomination, the United Church of Canada. So when they did, all of a sudden, every little community would have its Methodist church and its Presbyterian and its congregation. Well, they didn't need them all, so they sold them off. And so you'd be driving and you'll pass this church, and I always wonder, like, where did you put the bathroom? What are you doing where the altar used to be? Methodists, they don't really do so much with the altar, but it always gives me this sort of like, there's in Milwaukee, there's a old church that had been turned into a credit union, into a bank. It's like, it says a lot about what we worship, isn't it? How do you join the pieces of polystyrene? Well, I am going to be, I'm just going to be gluing them. I know that, I know that it's be kind of slapdash, but that's me. It is. I mean, yeah. And the prevalence of it now, of drug abuse, of overdosing, of etc. It's oh man, it's somewhat awful. It's somewhat awful. Looked at Catholic or Anglican, really. Methodist, so hey. I bet the Methodists wouldn't appreciate that, but I do. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with glue because I'm basic. I be basic. All that work I did. I haven't textured it yet. Much harder to texture when it's together, And of course, there's two different kinds of foam, so it'll take texture differently. It's a disaster, folks. It's a disaster. What am I doing? I don't know. But I'm having fun. Yes, chopper broccoli. My mama went downtown. She bought some broccoli. She brought it home. Now she's chopping broccoli. So stupid. It's so stupid. I think the thing that sold that was his performance, because like on its face, that is just a pointless sketch, right? You know, I mean, that's just ridiculous. But he was so funny, personally. Get out of there. Get out of there, son. Carved you out of there. Get out of there now. Yeah, wise guy, eh? So, yeah. Yeah, we like to swing from the sublime to the ridiculous here. Like to talk about serious social issues and then do stupid Bugs Bunny gangster voices. That's how I roll. That's how I roll. Is the squeaking sound coming over the microphone? Okay. Yeah. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but hey,
It's fantasy.
that's always the cop out, right? You do something that looks really awful. You know, it's fantasy. Why? Leave me alone. It's fantasy. It's not real.
That's not how castles were built.
It's fantasy. It doesn't matter. Ooh, this takes nice. That takes texture nicely. This is okay. This is really good. Look at that. Pink foam forever. You know, when I did the keep, having to texture, because I did it in those four. If you haven't seen the keep project, it's massive. It lays out. It's one story, but it's like 3 feet by 3 feet. And I split it into 4 base pieces so that I didn't have to try to transport the thing that was 3 foot by 3. It wouldn't fit in our car. So it was it was made smaller, but still in all, I had to texture the base pieces, and texturing all of that. Oh, it about killed me. It about killed me. Okay, I'm gonna want lines in here for where it's a separate piece. Okay, it's gonna go. That's gonna go. There we are. Well, some of these don't quite match up. Oh well. It's fantasy. In fantasy, the bricks bend. Oh well. I will be painting them. Oh yes. Yes. That's how you roll. Oh my heavens. What am I going to do with you people? What am I going to do with you people? You're crazy. You're crazy, I tell you.
That's not normal. I know normal, and that's not normal. Okay. Dr. Scratch and Sniff.
Yeah, just a little section of ruined wall. Real small. Small wall. Small wall. How do I do it this way? That may be better. That means I have to texture this, but that's okay. Actually, I like that better. I do like that better. Just goes to show you, don't glue it together too soon. You may have a change of heart. There we are. Yeah, this stuff doesn't take the texture anywhere near as good as that does, but which is part of the reason I was cover up a little bit more of it. I never profess to be normal. Yeah, just a black craft paint. I just use dollar store craft paint. I'll use that stuff on here. I'll use that stuff to base it. I might do I've never done the Mod Podge in with the paint. I put the Mod Podge on after, and I use a flat Mod Podge so you don't get too much shine because I want to protect the paint job. I figure if I put the Mod Podge on the bottom, then the paint can still flake off. So I put the Mod Podge over the top because I'm a rebel. That's just always what I've done. Okay.
Now all this texture for nothing. Oh, my heart is broken.
Not really. I was reading a series of books to the boys. Now I forget what the series was. It wasn't Rick Riordan. It was I don't remember. Nicholas Flamel, the alchemist. Story of the Nicholas Flamel stories. And these books, they involve all of these historic characters. They're very fun. It's this idea that they're these immortal beings in the world, and it turns out they're all the people you heard about in history class, right? But it's a fun kind of series. But it's people from all over. Like it's Joan of Arc. It's John Dee, Machiavelli, Billy the Kid, and all these characters. So these places, people from all over the place with all these accents, right? All trying to keep track of all these accents and trying to, and especially because you'll look at a chunk of dialogue and it won't say who's speaking until, we should run down the street and jump into that car and then drive over the mountain, said Machiavelli. And you get halfway through it in an English accent, and then you see the word Machiavelli coming. You're like, oh, we should go down to the street and then jump into the car and drive over the mountain. Yay, I'm forever catching up with my own narration. Right now I'm reading them. We've been reading the Hardy Boys. Fleetwood read Hardy Boys books when he was younger, like 10, 11, something like that. He read a whole bunch of them. Tetchberry prefers to be read too. He does a good deal of reading on his own, but he really likes to be read too. And at some point, I started reading him the Hardy Boys books, and Bob Johnny would sit in. And this is when they were much littler. But it's just continued. And when we don't have a bedtime book to be working on, we default to the Hardy Boys. And I've been reading this one now, The Shattered Helmet. And it involves a whole bunch of Greek characters. And trying to do a Greek voice that doesn't sound Spanish, And I was like, it's like, I was an actor, but look at me. I'm not going to be cast as a Greek, especially with this light on me. I mean, I am translucent in this light. I'm not going to be cast as a Greek. So I never bothered to learn a Greek dialect. It ain't happening. No one's looking at me and saying, yeah, there's Dimitri. But yeah, there we go. All right. So yeah, Zorba. Yeah, that's me, Zorba the Greek. Zorba the Greek. Yeah, the glue, that's Jimmy J. The glue, when you base it, that does help. I mean, it strengthens it when you put it on at the end as well. But I could do both. I could Mod Podge, do Mod Podge black paint at the beginning and then Mod Podge over it at the end. That might work. But Anyway, man, I'm really, what am I going to do? I'm going to do this. I'll turn this one off now, as I don't need the working light. And that makes me a lot less, well, not a lot less washed out, but less washed out. Anyway. Well, folks, I'm gonna call it a night. I'm gonna pack up here and clean up. Let the dog out for a final run to the outdoor toilet. Just a note on the dog: we got the dog in mid-January. It was a rescue dog. It was one of a litter that was born. The mother was the rescue dog, and then she had the puppies, and then the dog was fostered, born back in August, but by the time we got the dog, it was 5 months old, and there was snow on the ground, and there has been snow on the ground consistently. And we got tons of snow. I mean, deep. We were going out the door and stepping up a foot to get to the, But now the snow is melting, so all this rain and warm weather, and the dog is afraid of the grass. The dog is afraid to step anywhere that doesn't still have ice and snow. So, of course, when you walk on snow a lot, you pack it down. And so there's this trail that still has a little bit of ice and snow where we've walked. And the dog's trying to stick to that and do its business just there because it doesn't want to, he doesn't want to go off on the grass. He doesn't want to go into the, and so he's picking his way along really delicate. Well, today, that was it. The last of the ice melted. There's no more ice trail. There's nothing. The only place there's still snow is on the other side of the house because of the shadows. There's a garage in the house, and it doesn't get much sun. And that's where, like, the fort is that swings and slides and this kind of stuff. And they're getting a little old for it, but they still do, especially Bob, Johnny, and Touchberry still play on it. And like, no, you're not going to go and poop there. That's the one place in the yard you will not poop. No, I'm not letting you. But he's like pulling at the leash. Please let me poop on snow. No. So anyway, I gotta go out and wrestle with that. So, there we go. Scared to get, yeah, well, and Wave, in this case, of course, the rescue dog is the puppy of a rescue dog. So he doesn't have any of the psychological trauma, none of that kind of stuff. So he was born in a foster situation, and the foster family that had him did a beautiful job. He goes in his crate without any problem. He's housebroken, all sorts of good coming out of this. Really, really, really a lovely dog. Magoo is his name. Lovely dog. But yeah, the afraid of the grass thing, you'll have to hold it until winter. You have to hold it till winter. That's about it. He's a Rottweiler Coonhound mix. So he's going to be a beefy guy. He's got huge paws, but he still has that coonhound. His nose is always on the ground, right? Lives by the nose. He who lives by the nose dies by the nose, Mr. Bond. I don't know why Bond got involved. Anyway, yeah, Magoo. Arthur Magoo or Arthur Magoo. Arthur Magoo. Also Goober, Magoobenstein, Magoobovich, the Goobinator, all sorts of stupid nicknames have come up. Now, when we had a cat, we went online one night and got him ordained with the Universal Life Church. I'm not saying that wine was involved. I'm not saying that wine wasn't involved, but we ordained the cat. I don't know if we're going to ordain the dog. I mean, obviously the cat was Catholic, but Magoo is rather dogmatic, so he may be fit for the clergy. Anyway, yeah. So to Jane, to answer the question, it's Rottweiler Coonhound mix. I don't know what mix it is though, because he looks mostly Coonhound. I just assume that the stock will come as he gets bigger. Anyway, I should clean up now and get him out so that I can get to bed because it is 1, 2, 3, 4, my favorite time of night. You all have a very good night. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. There's 12 of you still hanging out there. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out and building some stuff. I will post pictures when they're. Maybe I'll do another. Maybe I'll do another one when I'm painting these things up. That might be a fun thing to do. So you can see how they end up. So thanks for hanging out. You have a good one, everybody, and I will see you on the flip side. Bye.